This is TVCL, and welcome to the Practically True podcast. Christianity is strict. The road to hell is wide and well-travelled, but the road to heaven is narrow, and to walk that narrow path requires that we obey God's law. His law is demanding. It demands nothing less than our complete devotion and perfection. And it is final. There is no indication that God demands any less of us, that he will dilute or allow us to bargain our way around his demands, because they make us uncomfortable, or because we are having a bad day. A Christian might explain to a non-believer that God is love, and this non-believer may wonder at why the religion of this all-loving God is so taxing. Even a believer might be tempted to feel petulant in the face of all of these demands, and so it is worth reflecting on what they are for. The main point to make is this: that God has made all of these laws precisely because he is so loving, and although it might not be clear to us, these laws are not for his benefit, they are for us. What does this mean? The first thing to get clear is that God doesn't need anything from us. God is absolute. God is complete. God cannot be harmed, and nothing can either add or take away from his totality. Yes, God has a will, and yes, in light of this, we can attribute to him a kind of desire, but if God doesn't get what he wants, he loses nothing. God has nothing to lose, and God has nothing to gain. God only has everything to give. How, then, are we to understand what he asks from us? This is why the issue appears to be odd. On the one hand, we can recognize that God doesn't need anything, yet he makes so many requests. To begin with, he tells us that he is a jealous God, that we can have no other gods but him. After this, he makes all kinds of demands on us. In fact, he demands everything from us: our thoughts, our emotions, our will, our actions. Indeed, he demands all of our attention and all of our worship. These don't sound like the demands of someone who doesn't need something from us. So how on earth do we make sense of this if God is so complete? The second thing to get clear is what we are here for and why God created us. The idea is that God didn't create anything because he needed to, but because he is pure love. Being pure love, God overflowed with generosity towards the universe by giving it existence. One such set of beings he loved into existence was us, but in so doing, he endowed us with free will. With that free will, we have fallen out of harmony with God, and have been suffering in sin ever since. This is the story of the fall. Yet, this was not the original intention. God did not make us for sin, although he allowed it to be possible. God made us to live in accordance with his plans and with his will. This purpose and harmony is written into the very essence of our nature. Our health, the health of our souls, and of our joy, and our fulfillment, is found by realizing this nature of ours, and by living in the way that God intended for us. After all, if God is all-loving and created us, he is exactly the one who wants what is best for us, who knows what is best for us, and who knows how we are to get it. Yet, he sees us having rejected all of this while we are addicted to our sins. And so, see it this way. It's as if God is a loving parent who has created some children, who was so intimate in their creation that he knows what will make them happy are things like sunlight, beauty, and the love of growing a garden. Now, this parent has also given his children a house. Yet, instead of using the house in the way that was intended, the parent watches as his children close the blinds, block out all of the sunlight, and writhe around in the darkness, addicted to heroin. What is this parent to do? He doesn't need anything from his children. He has all the money and power in the world. No, he doesn't need anything. He simply wants what is best for them. Still, he is a loving parent and knows that, as such, his children should be free. They can make their own choices. Their house is not technically theirs. He built it and paid for it, but he has leased it to them, allowed them authority over the house, despite their abuse of it. But he can kick them out anytime he likes. No, God does not need anything from his children, but he does want what is best for them. Now we can understand what God's laws mean, because it is like this. It's as if some of the children in the house have realized where they are. Their father has been putting letters through the door. Some have read them. Some of them look at the sunlight struggling to get through the window, and the bloody needle hanging from their arm, and know that something has seriously gone wrong. They want things to change. And so, they pick up the phone to speak to their father, to find out what needs to be done. Now, the father wants what's best for his children, and he is overjoyed that they have called him. But he also understands addiction. He understands that it's going to be very hard for them to give it up, even painful. He knows that if they are to get rid of it, and to heal, and to breathe the fresh air again, they are going to have to get rid of it completely, thoroughly, right down from the root. There will be times when they will not want to, when they will reconsider and think that the pain of getting clean outweighs the pain of being in their wretched state. Yet, what is the father to do? Even as they seek his help, they will resent him, argue with him, try to bargain with him. Please, just let me do one more hit. Please just let me think that it is right to do one more hit. And the father will say, no. You might stick that needle in your arm again, and I cannot stop you. But if you are asking me to condone it, or accept it, my answer is final. I will not change my rules. Because despite how much you think it's healing you, I know that it is the thing that is going to kill you. I will help you. But if I am to help you, you have to do what I say. And what I am telling you to do is this. Get up. Get washed. Put the house in order. Open your curtains and do what you can for your brothers and sisters. I will help you. I will always be here for you to talk to me. I will give you advice. I will send you helpers. I will send you money. But if you're going to get through this, you have to do what I say. To put it simply, the Father is very demanding. And he is demanding precisely because he is full of love. And so, this helps us to understand why God is so demanding of us. We are suffering in darkness from our addictions, and he looks in on us, wanting to help. And if we want his help, we have to follow his rules. That might explain some of the Christian laws, such as thou shalt not kill, or thou shalt not steal, because we can see how much pain arises when these commandments are broken, and so it makes sense to say that God is protecting us from our own actions. But what about the other rules about worship and devotion and prayer? How do they fit into the picture? The final thing to get straight is that God is a unique being, and our relationship to him is unique. In the example above, the Father wanted his children to breathe the clean air. But in the case of God, God is at once the loving Father and the clean air that he wants us to breathe. And this makes perfect sense. If God is the absolute source of all goodness and being, there is quite literally nothing better than him. As such, there is nothing better for us than him, nor could there be. This is how we understand his other commandments. When God says, "Have no other gods before me," he does so because he knows that all of those other gods are bad for us, that they will lead us astray and make our lives worse. When God asks for our souls, our devotion, for our attention, it is not due to any self-interested sense of ego, but from a clear, objective recognition that he is the best thing to give our souls, our devotion, and our attention to, and that we will be all the better for it. When Jesus says, "Take up your cross and follow me," he doesn't do so because he is lazy and needs someone else to carry those crosses for him. He does so because he loves us and knows that the road that we carry those crosses down is the road to heaven, and the place that we really need to be. Deo gratias. God demands much, and he demands it all for us. Thank you for your time.